Oh, man. Look.
Oh, that's a bad one,
it's
Mr.
hot.
Man.
Oh, I just spilled coffee all over my...
I hate it when I do that.
Bethany, oh, look what you made me do. It's like all over the front of my shirt.
What I made you do?
Yeah, look, I've got coffee all over me.
How was that my fault?
Well, you think I just decided to pour coffee on myself? You think I'm that stupid?
No, but I'm way over here. How did I do that?
Well, I don't know, but somehow there's coffee all over me. I wouldn't be dumb enough to pour it on myself. So,
Mr. Man, this is silly. I'm way over here, and why would I spill coffee on you? How could I have done that from way over here?
You tell me. You tell me how you do that. Like,
what?
Don't ask me
like
dumb
mind
questions.
control? You think I'm doing something like that?
No, you don't know how to do mind control. Like, you're not smart enough to do mind control.
Oh my goodness.
It burns. Like, I feel like my chest hairs are like singeing off right now.
It's not that big of a spot. I don't even.
What do you mean?
I mean, I see
it's
it.
Huge.
I see it, but it's not that bad.
I'm gonna have to go change now.
Really? For the podcast?
Yes. Like, I don't want. I mean, can you see it from where you are?
Well, yeah, I can see it.
Then
It's
I
not
need
that.
to change it. It's
not,
like, oh man,
Mr. Man, I don't think you need a change for the podcast. It's fine.
I'm trying to present myself in a professional manner, and I'm not going to sit in front of an audience with coffee stains all over me.
They can't see you.
You
Mr.
just
Man.
said you could see it from there.
Yes, because I'm in the room with you. Our listeners can't see that.
I'm gonna change.
Mr. Man.
No.
Mr. Man.
I'll be back in a while.
Oh my gosh.
You're listening to A Masterclass in Filmmaking featuring director extraordinaire Josh Mann. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of A Masterclass in Filmmaking featuring director extraordinaire Josh Mann. And today we're talking about a very special topic, something that is good for those of you who are hoping to someday be filmmakers, or maybe you're already in the process, you're striving for it, and you're just not gaining traction. And maybe part of the problem is that your ideas are stupid. And so today we're going to talk about ways to make your ideas better. We're talking about that moment when you have that initial idea, that initial concept. And in the film world, this is referred to as the moment of conception. It's when that first concept pops
Mr.
into...
Man?
Yes.
Yes,
Bethany.
Wait, what did you say?
I just said a lot of stuff, and you're asking me to say what I just said all over again?
Specifically, what is this called? This moment of...
Yes, so when you concept a concept for the first time, so it's like initial conception of the concept in that conceptual moment. It's called the moment of conception, where you concept it.
Are you sure it's called that in the film world?
Well, I'm a film genius, so yes, I'm sure.
I just have never heard that.
Well, of course, you're not a filmmaker, are you? So why would you hear? So why would you hear of a term called the moment of conception when you're not?
I guess
concepting?
I've just heard it in other contexts.
Such as?
Well, I don't really feel comfortable talking about this
because you don't know
right now.
Because you don't know.
Could we just maybe call it something different? Because it's...
So I'm going to change thousands of years of filmmaking terminology to fit your little brain's knowledge of filmmaking, which was nothing until you met me just a few weeks ago. And now it's like more than nothing, but it's not a lot, right? So it's like less than a lot, but more than none. So what would you call it? That would be like some. So it'd be like your brain knowledge of filmmaking is like in the range of some, where mine's in like tons. And you want me to change thousands of years of filmmaking terminology so that you feel better about that terminology.
Well, sir, I just think that maybe our listeners have heard it in another context as well, and maybe they
do you?
They might not understand
because you can
fully.
read their minds, and even though you're here and you can't even see them, you don't even know who's listening right now.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Okay.
You don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know.
So here's 7 steps to help get you to that moment of conception. And you'll find these to be very, very useful and even fun at times. So the first one, step 1, is this. Come up with a good idea. And in that, what I'm saying is don't spend your time coming up with a bad idea, because bad ideas aren't good enough to make films out of. So you want to come up with good ideas. So when you're coming up with ideas, make sure that they're good and not ungood.
Okay. Do you have any tips for how to come up with good ideas?
So here's something that works for me. So like when I'm trying to come up with an idea, I will usually just think. Like I just sit, and then my mind just starts thinking.
Yeah, you brainstorm?
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just like come up with ideas.
Okay.
And when I'm coming up with those ideas and I'm thinking, like something will pop in my head and I'm like, that's a good idea. Or sometimes I'll think of something and at first I'm like, that's a good idea. And then I think about it more. I'm like, no, that's kind of a dumb idea. And so then I don't think about that idea anymore.
Okay. Well, that's a great first step.
So the second step to get you to that moment of conception, and remember there's 7 of these, second step is this. If it's stupid, don't do it.
Okay.
So if you come up with an idea and you're like, that's a stupid idea, that's a good clue to let you know it's time to abandon that idea and set it aside for something that's not so stupid.
Okay.
So like for me, one time I came up with an idea and like in the moment I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And then I thought about it some more. And I even told a friend of mine and I said, listen, I had this awesome idea. And I started telling him about it. And he's like, that sounds stupid. And then I was like, oh, so it's a stupid idea. So then I didn't do it anymore. I stopped that idea from continuing, even though I still think about it from time to time. But when I do think about it and I kind of get excited about it, I'm like, well, wait, I can't get excited about stupid ideas because I have to do good ideas.
Right.
And so you just have to train yourself to stop stupid ideas.
Okay. So you would really recommend going to like a friend or someone you look up to, or?
Yeah. I mean, if now for me, like it's really hard for me to find somebody smarter than me. But for most people, it's highly likely that they can find somebody smarter than them. And so you go to that person, you say, hey, here's my good idea. And if they say, no, that's stupid, then you don't do it. And so it could be like a friend, or it could be a parent or a mentor or a judge or a congressman, or maybe even somebody from a foreign country who has like one of those really neat accents. For me, like, so like if you like, there's a filmmaker who you're like, oh man, they're so good. And you can find them, like oftentimes you find out where they live. You can spend some money online and find out where famous people live, and you go to their home, and when they're leaving, you just
I don't know about that.
No, you can. I've done it. It's really cool. And
really?
Like one of my favorite directors of all time is this guy named Robert Rodriguez, which I'm sure you've all heard of Robert Rodriguez. Did I ever tell you about the time when I met Robert Rodriguez? No.
I don't even know who that is. No.
What?
I didn't.
You don't know Robert Rodriguez?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Have you ever, so you know the Spy Kids movies, like it's the greatest trilogy of all time.
Spy Kids?
Spy Kids, yes. Like Spy Kids 3. Oh my gosh, the one that's in 3D, and it's got the Rambo in it. And like it's like cinematic perfection. It's like
Spy Kids 3.
Yes. Oh man, just saying it, like my heart races. It's like in my top 3 to 7 films of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
really
way,
up there.
It's way up there. And so like a few years ago, I had just finished up a film and I was waiting for all the money to start rolling in. And so I got a job until that happened at a restaurant called Denny's. And I'm waiting tables one night, and this guy is sitting there at one of my tables.
Okay.
And I start walking up to him, and I stop, and I freeze in place. And I'm like, oh, this is Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, man.
Like, he's got a hat, which Robert Rodriguez wears hats. And so, like, I go up to him, and I introduce myself as a waiter and a filmmaker. And I stop, and I think, I know how to tell if this is really Robert Rodriguez or not. And I say, can I take your order? Like his food order? Because he was probably there to eat food because it's Denny's. I'm just assuming he was. And he gave me his order. And I don't remember what it was because like my brain was just like floating.
Starstruck, honestly.
Yeah, like
probably.
I think I was just staring at him or something. And so he told me his order. And listen, you know what I said?
What?
I said gracias, like because that's a Mexican word.
You said that?
Yep.
To him?
And he said, "You're welcome." And which
Oh.
that shows me that he understands Spanish, and since he's like part Mexican, he knows Mexican words.
Okay.
And so I said a Mexican word.
okay.
He responded in English, telling me that he knows both languages. Like, I'm like, holy cow, this is really Robert Rodriguez. Who else looks like him, wears hats like him, and speaks multi-languages?
Good. Well, we really need to wrap up and go to our sponsor, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go to our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by the boys at Kale is Rad Juice and Coffee Bar, providing the sickest squeezes and the hottest brews since 2018. Brundon, Brody, Bradley, and Paxton, the proud owners of Kale is Rad, is excited to launch its Summer All Year Long menu, featuring their new fruit smoothies like Bogus Berry and Sizzlin' Starfruit. For all your organic drink fixes, check out Kale is Rad. Thank you, Kale is Rad staff.
We'd like to thank our sponsors for sponsoring us. Bethany, why don't you tell the rest of our listeners how they too could be a sponsor?
Okay, so we are on Facebook, and that's really it right now, but we are working on a phone number that would allow you to call in and still lets Mr. Mann keep his privacy.
Yeah, because there are people who want to contact me and want to interfere in my life.
His personal life and this podcast, we're just gonna respect that. So we're still working on that, and hopefully we'll have that out soon.
And hopefully, listeners, these 7 steps prove to be as useful to you as they have been to me. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to a masterclass in filmmaking featuring director extraordinaire Josh Mann.